Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the MiCIA Cannacast. I am Ida Pearl-Lee, the Deputy Director, and we have a special co-host with us today.
I'm Robin Schneider. I'm the Executive Director.
How are you doing, Robin?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Having a wonderful day.
Yeah.
There's a little action going downtown.
There's a lot of action across the street today.
Yes, it's exciting.
Yeah, okay. So there's a rally happening at the Capitol today. And you know what really surprised me was how many of our members were there.
I know, it was incredible to see.
Yeah,
yes,
so
the support.
Yep. So for those that don't know, the rally is about a package of bills that was introduced yesterday, and somewhat controversial or very controversial. And so they've got the Cannabis out in front of the Capitol across the street. Lots of speakers. I heard some state reps and very, very well attended.
Yes, it was very
rally.
well
In fact, our members asked us to go on a peacekeeping mission, and so we took a bunch of sandwiches over there.
We did.
With MiCIA stickers on them, just to let everybody know that we're friendly, and that the industry has a lot of great businesses in it that they should support. And anyhow, we saw lots of our licensed members there. And one of the things I thought was fun, Pincana, our friends at Pincana were there.
Shout out to Matt and Dave.
And they gave us a T-shirt. I don't know if you can tell. So I thought that was interesting. They made T-shirts. They brought all of their staff, and it's pretty
neat to see the turnout, the support that we have for our home state.
I mean, it's been kind of boring in Lansing.
It has been.
So. Yeah. All right.
But so today we have a special guest with us. We have Aaron Smith. He's the CEO at NCIA from Denver, Colorado. How are you doing today, Aaron?
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So you're going to be in our neck of the woods, I hear, next week.
Yeah, I can't wait. NCIA is really pleased to be doing our first show since our first in-person event since the onset of the pandemic last year in Detroit. Next Wednesday and Thursday.
That's awesome.
So, can't wait to see you guys there.
I know.
We will be there.
We will.
What's our booth number? 300.
307.
All right, we'll be at booth 307. So we're really excited about it too. And they say NCIA conferences are the best, especially for the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're definitely looking forward to that. The trade show there.
And we're the first event for NCIA this year.
Oh yeah,
here in Michigan.
You haven't had any events yet.
Nope. Yeah, first one. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we're honored. This is so cool.
Well, Midwest and Michigan in particular is just really kind of exciting markets right now in cannabis. So we're definitely looking forward to it and getting back into the swing of some sense of normalcy here.
Yeah,
we are too.
We've had some pretty good events, all outdoors. But
yes,
it's been good.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to coming. I know a lot of our members are going to be there. Mm-hmm. And so you can go to, what's the website? MidwestCannabisConference.com.
MidwestCannabisBusinessConference.com.
Yep. MidwestCannabisBusinessConference.com. Okay. And the discount code, mm-hmm. if for our members that NCIA was so gracious to give us, is MiCIA 20, and that'll get you 20% off of your ticket. And then you can get a lot of different tickets. You can get the 2-day pass with all of the expos. Personally, I'm going to be going to the expos and listening to the speakers and all of that. I think that's always like a great learning opportunity. And I know you've got tell us about some of your speakers. I know you have Calvin and Rob, our board members, Calvin Johnson, Megatron, and Rob Sims. Mm-hmm. And, we get to talk to them a lot because they're our board members, but, and they're wonderful people, amazing, like humble men.
They are.
Very humble men, and very kind. And so we are really looking forward to coming to support them while they're speaking. So if you haven't got a ticket yet, you don't want to miss that. And then who else is speaking, Aaron?
Yeah, everybody's looking forward to Calvin and Rob, of course, and just so exciting to see athletes like that getting jumping into the cannabis industry. I'm particularly excited also about Andrew Brisboe from the Michigan Regulatory Authority meeting with Greg McElvain from Ohio to talk about Delta 8 and the approaches to regulating these new cannabinoids that are really having been emerging in recent years and months. So that's our day 2 keynote. So really, that's going to be really interesting, and that's just been probably one of the hottest topics, at least at NCIA in the last year. And then, of course, I'm speaking with our deputy director of government relations just to talk about kind of the landscape in Washington D.C. And everything that's going on at the national and federal level. Just before the All-Star panel on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very cool. And I saw Tiffany Coleman is speaking as well.
Okay.
She's on the NCIA scientific committee, and she works here at Franklin Fields and Botanical Company. And Tiffany's brilliant.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. We love you. Tiffany's amazing, and I use her as a resource a lot when we're working on like new bills, new laws, the Delta 8. I was on the phone with Tiffany quite a bit through that process, and she's just so knowledgeable and also very honest. She's like blunt. She's going to tell you exactly how it is, and I just love it when people give it to you straight
up.
And so Tiffany is great to work. She was great to work with through the whole process with the Delta 8, because the first original bills, and of course we're lobbyists, right? So we help negotiate some of the specifics in the language. And the first bill was like awful, like it made hemp seeds illegal. There were a lot of like unintended consequences that only a science person would know exactly what that language would need to be, which is when we pick up the phone and call Tiffany, and say, hey, we're concerned that this language doesn't mean what they say that it means. And
right.
she'll come in and give the full science background and say, this is what it should say instead. And, she was able to help us get, the language right to be able to get amendments so that we wouldn't harm the hemp industry in that process, which was important to us because we're advocates. So, so I'm looking forward to seeing Tiffany speak. Anybody else that off the top of your mind?
Oh yeah, well, we've got dozens of speakers from the within the industry, and then as well as like I said, regulators and others, and encourage folks to check out the agenda at MidwestCannabisBusinessConference.com. And one thing that I really sets our content apart is you mentioned our scientific advisory committee, which Tiffany leads, but we have actually 14 member committees that vet the content. So unlike a lot of conferences you see in the industry, people basically pay a sponsorship fee and then they get to speak. Ours are actually really peer reviewed. So all of the content that'll be in front of our attendees next week has been developed by, or at least reviewed by, a number of our member committees. And really truly, this is a conference that's not done by a conference company, but done by the industry itself and NCIA as the industry's trade association. So it's toot our own horn a little bit. And I think it's always been something I've been proud of, is just that educational aspect to the events.
Absolutely. Education is very important.
Yeah. The opportunity to like network with other businesses.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to having the booth there. We're bringing the whole team. And I'm going to need to get more passes. So yeah, we're bringing a lot of people. So we're really excited. We're excited. It's going to be a good time.
Yes.
I can't wait. And so I saw that there's like a lot of like lighting companies, and that's really exciting right now to like always be learning about new lighting technology. And as we're on the verge of being cracked down at all times by environmentalists. So we're trying to stay ahead of that. So I mean, having the opportunity to see like what's coming next, or the machine of the future, I mean, that's always beneficial to our licensed members who are trying to predict, how to scale their businesses as they're moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, Aaron, can you tell us a little bit about why you are in your position? What led you into the cannabis industry?
Yeah, well, me personally, I've been an advocate for cannabis reform since pretty much my whole adult life. So, going back a couple of decades. But NCIA, we launched this organization 11 years ago because we saw that at that time, there was no adult use, cannabis states, but we had medical marijuana states that were starting to develop what we would consider, then nascent industries, and that new issues were emerging that needed to be tackled. And I thought that the best way to do that would be to organize the business interests around it, to tackle issues like the banking crisis, like 280E, things that really affect businesses more than anybody else. And just like MiCIA, it's important that businesses, MiCIA's work at the state and local level, it's important that businesses have a seat at the table at the national level. So that's why we started NCIA, and we've really, over the years, evolved into the only full-service trade association for the industry. So not only are we doing lobbying in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the members, but also events like this one, educational conferences, networking opportunities, information for our members to really give them a competitive advantage over the isolated operators or those who are kind of sitting on the sidelines and not really investing in the future of the industry. So that was really the impetus of it. And, just like any, there are hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of trade associations in this country representing every niche industry you can think of. So it only makes sense that cannabis have the same sort of seat at the table in the halls of power.
We agree.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So can you tell us what priorities right now are going on at the federal level?
Yeah. So we kind of work, there's really two, main tracks that we think about things as, the comprehensive reform, which is, ultimately descheduling cannabis, getting it off the list of controlled substances, regulating it in some sensible way and taxing it at the federal level. And there's a number of proposals on that front. The primary focus right now is legislation that has not been introduced yet, but the draft has been circulated on the Senate side and most notably by the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. That would do just what I said. Has a number of provisions that would treat marijuana kind of more comparably to alcohol, but it's quite complex, and we'll get into it at the conference next week. But that's something that's coming out soon, and I think will really be the kind of the mark in the sand of where the Democrats stand on cannabis reform. Of course, we also still have Republicans that are moving along maybe a little more slowly, and then I think where we'll see more quick progress, or nothing's quick, but so I put that in quotes, but is on the more incremental side of things. And that's the biggest piece of legislation that we're focusing on what I would consider the incremental side of things is the Safe Banking Act, which would allow banks to do business with our industry without fear of sanction from Department of Treasury or Department of Justice, which would not only mean simple depository services without paying these exorbitant fees that people are paying if they're lucky to have them, but also traditional lending and financing, which is kind of amazing that this industry has gotten to where it has with such limited access to that. And that's actually legislation that has bipartisan support already, has passed the House a couple of times, and there's some opportunities to get that moving through the Senate and onto the president's desk in the year ahead. So those are really the two main focuses, but we also look for any opportunities where there's a legislative vehicle to attach cannabis to and move forward. That's always something that we're looking at. But this has been it's been a weird time with COVID, that and COVID and then the insurrection at the Capitol. There's been no real in-person meetings happening in Washington, D.C., or at least not in the government offices since last March. And so, but that doesn't mean that there hasn't been a lot of progress. And so we've been continuing to lobby. Our staff in DC is continuing to lobby by Zoom and other methods. And even though I think COVID sort of distracted the legislature, or the Congress a bit, away from things like marijuana. There's also been really other opportunities to bring the issue up, and it's seeing this kind of seeing the Senate Majority Leader get behind comprehensive legislation is huge. It's nothing like this has happened in the history of the since Prohibition 80 plus years ago.
Yeah. Jeez.
Hmm.
Well, it's been a little different here too. I mean, we are back to in-person meetings.
Yes, we are.
But we sure did Zoom for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And it was interesting because we do a lot of events too, and we would try to put on Zoom events for our members. That didn't go over very well.
No.
We would end up with like a lot of like ancillary companies there, and the licensees were like, we don't have time to sit on Zoom. And we get it. They're so busy.
Yeah.
We have to talk fast when we're talking.
Exactly.
So, but they do like to come out to the in-person stuff and have a good time and network in person. And I find that the licensees or, plant touching business owners are more that way. And so, that's one thing I actually do want to mention. We're going to have a cocktail reception that we're going to host along with, so it'll be MiCIA and, I'm going to get in trouble. I gotta get all the sponsors and say, but anyway, we're going to be doing a cocktail reception after the first night of the NCIA conference there. So September 22nd at 7 p.m. We'll go 7 to about 10 at Trust Lounge. That's right across the street from the TFC Center, hosted by us, MiCIA, Collexium Detroit, and that's Rebecca there and her beautiful product line she's launched. My goodness, she's really taking off. And Michigan 420 Events, that's Tatiana Grant. And she's awesome because that is a 420 Events. They're actually event planners. So we do a lot of things with Tatiana because she's good.
Awesome.
And then sponsored by the Botanical Company in Franklin Fields. So, and again, that's the company that Tiffany works for. So they're excited, and we will be there. There's going to be cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, networking, and live music. So we're gonna have a good time and do it a little bit Detroit style. I understand we might be having a little Motown band, so I think we're gonna have a great night. And Aaron, we look forward to seeing you there for sure. For our members who want to come to that, all you have to do is go to the Midwest Cannabis Business Conference.com and enter in your discount code MiCIA20 and get a ticket for the conference. You can get tickets to the conference with our discount code for as low as $40. So there's no excuse for not coming. And so what I would suggest our members do is come on Wednesday, the 22nd. Come and hang out and visit us at our booth 307. And then, let's hang out afterwards, grab some dinner, and go to Trust Lounge for networking mixer.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of our members are probably going to end up staying the night in Detroit because it's, that's we do that. So get a hold of us and we'll plan a night of it.
Absolutely. So, Aaron, can you tell us? I mean, how has it felt having to cancel the show, and now it's coming back? I mean, I know we talked about it briefly, but how's that feel?
Oh yeah, I mean it feels wonderful. I mean, frankly, as somebody who does probably not too similar to you guys, like my job is to get out in front of people and spread the gospel of NCIA and cannabis reform, and it over the last year and a half not being able to do that except through these screens, right. Zoom, these Zoom meetings and et cetera, is really, it's pretty devastating, honestly, and kind of depressing. So it's really good to be able to get back into some sense of normalcy. It won't be the same as it was before COVID, and maybe nothing will ever, but we will have We are taking several safety precautions. Masks are required in the center. We're strongly recommending everybody be vaccinated. There will be, hand sanitizer readily available. But this is, I'm thinking, this is really the first of the next series of events that we will be doing into next year. The next big event after this is the Cannabis Business Summit, which is our kind of flagship event, our 7th annual flagship event in San Francisco. So that'll be December 15th through the 17th.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yeah, toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then I'm hopeful if everybody gets their, hopefully this isn't a political statement, but if everybody just gets their vaccines and actually starts taking this thing seriously, but by 2022, we can actually get back to just normal business. And I'm, definitely looking forward to that as somebody who kind of thrive off of, I thrive off of just like in-person, relationship building and that sort of making those connections. And I think a lot of other people do too. We dabbled with the virtual events ourselves, just like everybody, but you really can only do so much with that. And
right.
I think we only did 3 of them and we were like, we quit. Nobody wants that.
Yeah. So
what ended up happening instead is our members formed pods.
Yeah,
we call them, and they started like 6 at a time Zooming, and they would actually drink beer. So I did find out that there was several pods formed, where they would just get together, spend an hour, have a few beers, and talk business, and do some referrals to each other, and I thought that was nice. So
the Zoom has had its moments, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron, can you tell us the selection process that you go through for your board members? What does that look like?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because right now we actually, NCIA is a democratic organization, very inclusive of everybody in the industry. We don't represent any one particular sector or large companies versus small companies. We represent all across the board from every state, every demographic within the industry. And so it's important to us that we have a kind of inclusive process for selecting the board leadership, which we happen to be going through right now. So any of our members, no matter what the membership level, can actually apply for a seat on the board between now and the end of September 30th.
Okay.
And there's an application process online that you can find at thecannabisindustry.org. And then we have a committee of our essentially a nominations committee that comes together and looks at all the candidates based on their qualifications, the diversity they would bring to the board, the resources they could bring to the organization, all of the various points that you'd be looking at. And then we select a slate. This year we have eight seats that are up for. And including some incumbents, most incumbents will be running again too. And so this is just our way of making sure that we're representing the industry, or representing our membership, most importantly, because that's really the only reason a trade association exists, is to serve members.
Exactly.
So yeah, I encourage anybody out there. Well, first, if you're not a member, shameless plug. If you care about, making sure that the cannabis industry is well represented as we legalize cannabis at the federal level, please join the organization. If you're already a member, please do consider throwing your hat in the ring to join the board. And that's kind of the ultimate leadership role there. And you can find all that information at the online at thecannabisindustry.org.
I think that's awesome. It's neat when people step into those roles to want to educate and help others. What motivates you to keep going, Aaron?
Well, it's like, victory is always within just within reach. And there's always, I've joked about before, like how many times have I written an email to the members or given a speech where I said, oh, this big historic thing just happened. And it's the first time in history. I think I've said it already on this podcast. But it's actually true. Like every few months, at least, there is some big historic event that we've never seen happen as we move, toward the end goal of ending prohibition, replacing it with a well-regulated system that, and a burgeoning cannabis industry.
Mhm.
So, that just being able to be on the winning side of history is, gratifying and keeps me, motivated every day. But also just knowing that this is affecting, people in their day-to-day lives. Like, we're actually helping people. We're helping keep people out from behind bars for a substance, far safer than alcohol and other legal substances, particularly communities of color and other marginalized communities that have been disproportionately affected by the war on drugs, the war on cannabis, and that our work, even on behalf of the industry, is helping get us to the point where nobody will ever again be, put in a cage for cannabis, and that means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to our members and those that make up NCIA.
Yeah, and I tell this story all the time, but I'm going to tell it again. So, when we were working to legalize Michigan, that was a 2-year campaign. It was a bootstrapped campaign in many ways. And we were, really struggling at one point towards the end of the signature collection, where we didn't quite have enough signatures yet. And we had a large commitment fall through. One of our donors, as we were, right almost through the finish line, said, I can't give you, the rest of my commitment. And I went, oh, what are we going to do? We need to come up with a large sum of money quickly to pay for these signatures and get these signatures turned in. So I went to Las Vegas, and I went to the ArcView investor group event they had there that coincided with MJ BizCon, and Aaron was there. And so NCIA made a very large contribution to Michigan's ballot committee and saved the campaign.
Wow.
And I mean, we had like 48 hours left to go, and it was going to be too late. And so Aaron stepped in and saved Michigan. And I think that's really like one of those historic things that have never happened before. But more importantly, the number of people that were being arrested and incarcerated, and criminal records and probation and all of that. I mean, it was not just a move where our medical facilities got to start selling direct. It wasn't just that. It was it was a social justice move that was really important for Michigan. And so thank you again, Aaron. I'm going to bring that up for the rest of our lives.
Well, you can continue to bring it up. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you guys have done to, to really represent the industry so professionally there in Michigan. You guys have been, stand out as one of the better state trade associations I've seen. I'm not just saying, I don't say that to everybody, but just from, having watched state markets basically from the, the very beginning, develop state by state by state. MiCIA has just done a stellar job.
Thank you. We're doing a really good balance of work and fun here. And we understand, with our members too, we've got to be having fun, and we've got to make it fun for them.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why we're successful, is because we found that perfect mix of business, friends, and fun and hard work. and it works out pretty well for us. And I was just saying to Ida, if our members would quit throwing parties, we might get some work done. Because they're post-COVID, everyone's having a good time now.
They are.
So, but we have some important stuff, on a state level coming up as well that we are working on. And so, I just said, I don't think we can go to that event. And it was like, what? It's like we have real work to do. So it's trying to balance it all, because the cannabis industry is so exciting and it's growing so fast. And so we're excited to have you come to Michigan. I know it's going to be an awesome conference. I've been to some conferences in Michigan. They weren't really industry geared. And so I'm excited about this one, because I know that it's going to be top tier.
Well, we're excited to do it, and can't wait to see you both and everybody there next week.
Absolutely. Right. And Aaron, again, we just appreciate everything that you do, for our association and statewide and nationally and federally. And we appreciate, you. And thank you. So thank you for being on the podcast today. Is there anything you want to talk about before you go? Give a last shout out for anything?
Well, likewise, just thank you guys and everything you're doing. And, I think this is going to be the most professional industry event that, in the Midwest in a long time. And I'm glad that we're being able to do it in partnership with you guys. And look forward to meeting everybody next week.
All right.
Absolutely. We're excited to see you.
See you there.
All right,
Thank you.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.